What we have here today is the latest and greatest from Sofirn. Very thankful for them sending this to the channel. This is the IF24 Pro. We'll get into a little bit of its statistics, everything that's going on with it, why this might be something you really want versus the almost identical looking IF24 that's not the Pro. Now, cosmetically, when we look at these two flashlights, they look pretty much exactly the same. We have the same design features right here. Again, you can tell that they're basically the same. Now, when you do look right here at the LEDs, they do look a little different in here. The Pro definitely does shine further. It has actually 340 meters of throw distance versus the IF24, which I think is somewhere around the 200 meter distance. This Pro version does have up to 1800 lumens on the max output. That's something different. Also, the big difference with this is even as the battery drains, it still keeps the same light without stepping down and dimming, whereas in this one does dim as well. The important thing to notice right here is the lumens, also the runtime. We've got the 1 lumen for the moonlight, low 10 lumens, medium 150 lumens, high 700 lumens, turbo 2000 lumens, strobe 2000, SOS 150, beacon 2000. Then down here, we do have, again, output. We have the beam distance. That right there never really concerned me that much because I use these for work. I don't use these as a spotlight. I just use these for routine tasks at work, working on machinery. I use it at home underneath the cabinet. I used these flashlights for fixing an outlet issue. Very handy, again, with the side light, the lantern. Now, again, on the moonlight, we have this 20 days. On the low, we have 115 hours. On the medium, we have, looks like 13 and a half hours. Then on the high, we have 2 hours, 25 minutes. On the turbo, we have the 1.5 hours as well. Pretty impressive run times. We have the peak intensity as well right there. All right, on this side, there is some more information for those of you more interested in the technical aspect of this. What kind of battery, the working voltage. This is C-type charging. Now on mine, even though I've been using this for a week or two, it's been a little while. I really haven't had to charge it that much at all. I've used it. Now I use mine, I think, on probably the medium setting mostly. One of the negative things I guess I do want to mention, get this out of the way, is that the pocket clip fell off. Probably that was my fault. This may have been the one that I was using underneath the kitchen cabinet, knocking it around. It was falling down, all kinds of other issues. So not a huge deal. I just took the pocket clip from the IF24. I don't know where the pocket clip is. I'll probably find it later. That is an issue I had with it, but probably more user error. Probably the biggest issue is with this rotary dial. I do find even though you have it in locked position, sometimes I can sort of bump that fairly easy. Maybe the light comes on. It doesn't happen that often, but it can happen. Also, probably a big factor we should talk about is the weight. It does come in at 5.2 ounces, or as the scale tells us, 147 grams. Now that is with the battery. They list the weight without the battery, so with the battery, it does come in at that weight. Now comparing it to the others, and now I've turned all of them on. Comparing it to the others, this is pretty much in the pocket. It feels almost the same as the IF24. I think they're pretty much the same weight. I don't think there's a huge difference, but it definitely is so much lighter than the IF23. Definitely recommend this for work because, at least if you're going to carry it with you, because it will be a lot lighter in the pocket. I do have to say that these lights, I think, are my favorite work lights because of the side light. I use that a lot at work. Also, the magnetic base, very, very good, fantastic to use. Also, these are around the $40 price point, with the Pro being around $45. I will try to add discounts as I get it, as they are emailed to me. I will try to update the links underneath this video so you can get that savings. If you are not familiar with the IF24, let's go ahead, talk about some of the features. Now, this is supposed to be the locked position. Again, the detent isn't a lot right there. You will need to remember that. Now that we have it in the flashlight mode, we can click it on or off. If we hold it in the long, for a long click, then it goes into the moonlight mode. We turn off, we turn it back on. We've got it on low. We hold it in, it goes to medium. We hold it in, it goes to high, and then single click, it goes off again. Now, we've already talked about the moonlight mode. If we want to go to turbo, we have a double click, strobe, double click, we have the SOS, then double click again, we have the beacon right there, and then we can return to the main menu right there. So now we have this on the color mode right here. We can go ahead, hit the double click button. We get all kinds of options right here. You can have your own set of police lights in your hand, I suppose. Then it does all kinds of weird stuff right here as well. I call it weird stuff. It's not really, but police flash, rainbow, RGB waterfall, droplets, neon fade, all kinds of cool options on your light. I primarily use this as a work light, so I don't use these options right here, but you could. You definitely could. You can change the light settings, all kinds of options as we mentioned. All right, so going to the main light, this is the same as on your main light. If you turn it off and then you hold it in, you have the moonlight setting, and then you have your low, medium, and high. We can double click, we can go into the turbo, we can double click, again, go into strobe, double click, go into SOS, then we go into beacon. Right there you go. All those options, then we're back to locking the flashlight. Very, very cool light. Now, talking about one more thing about this light, again, I didn't really go over it, but if you press and hold this, the colors do change as well. I think I mentioned that with the IF24, but you press and hold, then you have different varieties of colors that it scrolls through. That is an option for those who are interested in that. Now, when we talk about this light, comparing it to the other lights in the brand, I definitely like the IF24 version. I think that's a huge upgrade because of the weight savings. Now, realistically, between the Pro and the IF24, for me personally, I don't think I notice a huge amount of difference because I use this as a work light. But depending on how you use these lights, I think that will definitely, the IF24 Pro will definitely be an advantage, again, because it reaches further, also because the internal, the mechanics of it as well. Both of those will be different, maybe more special to you depending on how you use these flashlights. I like both of these. I think they're both great options. I actually recommend both of them. Let me know what you think. Let me know your experiences with them as well.